Have Maureen and Jana, USP3 protection. We have three kind of costly exercises, but other than that, the dog shows a very nice routine here throughout all the exercises. Search for the helper. The dog here searches all the blinds tight and is directable, but between blind 1 and blind 2, we have an extra command by the handler. Here command to get the dog going in the proper position. The rest of the exercise is without fault. It's a low good. The hold and bark. Immediately when encountering the helper, the dog here starts itself, and the dog here does show good power and good intensity throughout, but needs to have just slightly more intensity to be in a higher rating. The dog is very continuous. The call out needs to be shown much more direct. The dog here comes to me, and then we have an extra command to get the dog going in the right direction to the handler. Here in the basic position needs to be slightly more correct. It's a satisfactory exercise. Prevention of an escape. The obedience is in order to the down position. When released, the dog goes very well into the helper. The grip here is full from the very beginning, but the grip needs to be slightly calmer. In that, there's one pulse in the grip, and the dog here gets slightly vocal on the grip as we get toward the end of the escape by the helper. The out here is shown correctly. The guarding, slightly more intense. It's a low, very good. Defense against an attack. Here, the dog counteracts the attack very well. The grip is full, but during the pressure phase, the grip needs to be slightly calmer. In that, the dog here is slightly vocal in the pressure phase from the helper. But the grip here remains full all the way up until the out. Again, the dog gets slightly vocal before the out and needs to be slightly calmer when coming off the sleeve. The guarding, slightly more intense, needs to be shown. The lowest are very good. The back transport, the dog and the handler. The dog is slightly forward in front of the handler here throughout. It's a very good. Attacking the dog out of the back transport. Here the dog reacts very well to the attack. The grip here is full from the very beginning. The grip here is unfazed by the pressure from the helper until we get closer to the out. We get closer to the out, the dog here is slightly vocal on the grip, and we have 2 pulses into the grip just before the out comes. When the out comes, the out dog does come off the sleeve all in one motion. The guarding, slightly more intense and slightly more focused, and a little bit slightly more dominance as the guarding goes on. The side transport, the dog needs to show slightly more focus to the helper here throughout. It's a good exercise. Attack on the dog on motion. This is very costly. If it would have been a little bit more, it's an automatic DQ, but when the dog engages, the dog comes toward me and the apprentice. The dog needs to be much more focused to the helper here throughout the exercise. That being said, when the dog does encounter and veers off into the helper, the grip here is full. The dog shows good power in and through the helper. The grip here is unfazed by the pressure from the helper all the way up until the out. This out is calm. The dog comes off the sleeve all in one motion. The guarding, just slightly more intense. Satisfactory because of the beginning portion of the exercise. Defense against an attack. The dog reacts very well to the attack. The grip is full, but needs to be slightly calmer. The dog here is much more vocal here in this pressure phase than any other throughout the exercises. The grip, though, does remain a constant all the way up until the out. The out here is in order. But here in the guarding, the dog needs to show slightly more intensity and slightly more dominance, especially as the guarding goes on. The dog actually comes away from the helper somewhat during the guarding portion of the exercise. The transport is in order. It's a good exercise. Today, TSP is pronounced 83 points good with a couple costly mistakes.